Good afternoon, my friends. You should not fly on a Boeing 787, and I will tell you why. On the 12th of June 2025, Air India Flight 171 crashed right after takeoff. Many of you will have heard stories by YouTuber pilots declaring that at best it was a pilot error and at worst a suicide. I will prove to you beyond the shadow of a doubt that this is impossible. Okay, so I'm going to show you a video here that is the takeoff run from that Boeing 787. You will see it come off the right here. It's going to roll and it's going to take off behind this building here, and you will count how many seconds it will rise before it goes level and until it starts going down, gliding down without any power, while the other pilot is trying to relight the turbines. So the events that you will see in this video, we will talk about them in detail after, but I just want you to see the video. You do not have to be an expert in aviation. You will be able to determine by yourself from the timestamps that are here with a description that will appear here if it makes sense. Let's roll. Sorry. $25. Remember here at 39, this is the aircraft. At 39 seconds is the moment it will start lifting, and there will be descriptions to the timestamp, so pay attention. V1 is reached. Reaches VR, rotation speed. They rotate and they take off. Lift off goes to air mode and count. At 39, 43, engine 1 fuel cut off. Engine 2 fuel control cut off, but it's still rising. It doesn't make sense. It's still rising. Pilots are wondering what the hell is going on. They have messages inside the aircraft. And then it will go level. It goes level here. They're restarting the engines. Triggers auto start. Engine 2 fuel control back to run. Engine 1 and 2 relit, EGT increases. I will explain those things. Now the aircraft is gliding down. They can't regain trust. The thrust, T-H-R-U-S-T. The aircraft is sinking, stalling. Impact. Recording stops. Explosion. This is the reality that we have to find what happened that caused this reality. If they say that the aircraft stopped climbing at 4 seconds when it did not, the fuel pumps were shut off in the computer, but in fact the aircraft continues to rise. So this is an impossibility. Who am I to say this? Well, I graduated from the École Nationale Aérotechnique in Quebec in 1980, and I went on to work for Canadair We were building the Challenger in those days, which became the regional jets that are now built by Bombardier. I work on the final assembly floor. I was a method engineering planner, and I became factory specialist to investigate assembly problems they had on the final line. And later I was working in research and development. After that, I went on to work in technical sales, and I ended up selling vibration analysis softwares. Some of them were used for predictive maintenance, exactly on turbines, not aircraft turbines, but for power generation turbines. So I know what I'm talking about. Now we're going to review here the timestamps. I'm going to move this so I have, this is the line we are most preoccupied. At 07:37, the aircraft started rolling, okay? So we have the roll start at 37 seconds of the 7th minute. 08:33, the aircraft crossed the takeoff decision speed, which is called V1, and achieved 153 knots. 2 seconds later, here at 35, the aircraft achieved VR speed, 155 knots. That's when they can rotate the aircraft to take off. At 39, let's put that at the top for easier viewing. I put here the time steps that were obtained by the report. Let me show you that this is from the actual Air India report. It's not Air India, sorry. It is the report of the agency in India that is the equivalent of the FAA in the United States, or Ministry of Transport in Canada, and every country has the equivalent. This is the report they issued on the 18th of July, if I'm not mistaken, 5 weeks after the crash. And to this date, unfortunately, they have not released the cockpit voice recorder that would give us a wealth of information that if we had, we could overlay over the timestamps. So in this, you can see the timestamps that I mentioned. The aircraft achieved the maximum recorded airspeed of 180 knots at 08:42. That's after air-ground sensors transition to air mode, consistent with a liftoff at 08:39. So all this information has been put here in this table. And I put 00 here, 39 is 0. So 3 seconds after takeoff, the aircraft achieved the maximum recorded airspeed of 180 knots. 4 seconds after, the engine 1 fuel cutoff switch transitioned from run to cutoff. Note, this could be caused by electrical anomalies. This is very important. Right here, pilots to restart, here, perceived by the computer. This timestamp in the computer is simply saying the fuel pumps have switched off in the computer, but the aircraft continued to ride. We're 4 seconds after takeoff. 5 seconds after takeoff, engine 2 fuel cutoff switch transition from run to cutoff. Aircraft was still rising. 8 seconds after, at 08 minute 47 second, the ram air turbine hydraulic pump began supplying hydraulic power. That is known to take 4 seconds. 47 minus 4, we get to 43. When they started having signals that the fuel pumps, and okay, I'm not going to say fuel pump because you may not know what I'm talking about. If you want to shut down an engine, a turbine on an aircraft, you shut the flow of fuel coming to it. Simple as that. No fuel, no power, no combustion, no expansion of the gases after the combustion chamber. This is immediate. The turbine inside is turning between 13 and 15,000 RPM, and the large fan that you see in the front is turning at around 2,700 RPM. With 75,000 pounds of thrust, T-H-R-U-S-T, that's propulsion. On each engine, the aircraft weighs 200 tons more. It is at maximum takeoff weight, full of fuel, full of passengers. The temperature is 38 point something. It's like over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. They use they roll for 58 seconds until they are able to go up. And it is impossible that after 4 seconds and 5 seconds you cut out the fuel cutoff switch, transition from run to cutoff, and continue to rise for what you saw in the video. This is what I'm saying. I'm not going to speculate what the real problem is, but the real problem is it's not the pilots that activated those switches. Now, let me explain to you something. Right here, if we go down, to make it easier, I'm going to bring it down. So 8 seconds, 13 seconds. At 13 seconds, engine 1 fuel cutoff switch transition from cutoff to run. Turbine restart procedure. This is a known, this is what the pilot have to do if they want to restart the turbine, is to switch it off and switch it back on. That was recorded with a time step of 52 seconds and 56 seconds. You remember we took off at 39. So 13 seconds after takeoff, we saw it go up for 12 seconds. They knew something was going on, because if we had the cockpit voice recorder sounds, there must have been a lot of alarms going on at that time, and we would hear them. But they're not releasing that, but they're accusing the pilots. So that unfortunately did not work. So I'm going to show you again the complete run. Let's roll on that. 39. What I could do, no, I'm not going to slow it down so you can see. 37, 38, 39. Liftoff. While goes to air mode. Aircraft reaches maximum speed. Engine 1 fuel control cut off. Engine 2 fuel control cut off. Turbines apparently stop slowing down, but aircraft continues to rise. Not saying they're not having any problems. The pilot is monitoring. He's got his hand on the switches. He restarts the engine. Touch it off, on. 4 second, engine 2, he does the same thing to the second turbine. The gas, EGT, exhaust gas temperature increases because he's reigniting those turbines. The FADEC, that's the computer, they're sinking. Distress signals said mayday, mayday, mayday. Crash in 2 seconds. Explosion. 260 people die. Until they release the information, I certainly would recommend to my country, Air Canada has, I think, 80 of those airplanes flying. You can check the companies that you fly, who has Boeing 787, and until they explain how turbines that are starved of fuel, you cut the fuel flow to the turbine, how they can continue to rise 10 seconds after they are supposed to have been switched off. I will leave you with this, and I hope to get some comments from people. If you have any questions, I might get negative comments, but I am extremely critical of the YouTuber pilots such as Captain Steve, to name him, and others that have come to the conclusion it was the pilot, either a pilot error or a pilot suicide. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope to see you soon.